If you have $100 in your pocket right now, you are statistically wealthier than millions of people. But if you keep that $100 in cash, or worse, wait until you have a real amount of money to invest, you are quietly setting a trap for your future self. In today's economy, $100 feels like an insult. It is a single bag of groceries, less than 6% of the average national monthly rent of $1,750, or a fraction of the record-high $772 average monthly payment for a new car. Because of that, most people look at a $100 bill and think, this is not enough to change my life, so why bother? So they wait. They wait for the raise, the bonus, or the day they finally feel financially secure. But waiting is not a pause button. It is a decision to permanently set your default contribution at exactly zero. There's a term for this in behavioral finance called anchoring. Research shows that the size of your very first investment sets the mental baseline for every financial decision that follows. If you wait until you can properly invest $10,000, your brain anchors your progress to that massive milestone. Until you have it, you do nothing. Meanwhile, the person who sets up a boring, automatic transfer of just $100 a month at age 24 is building an entirely different identity. They are not waiting to become an investor, they already are one. The anchor is set, and their identity is locked in. Let's look at the math, because the math is where things get interesting. If you invest $100 a month into a standard S&P 500 index fund, you are contributing $1,200 a year. At an 8% annual return, which is historically conservative, after 10 years you have about $18,000. It doesn't sound like a fortune, it feels slow. And this is exactly where 90% of people lose patience and quit. But then, right around year 9, something invisible happens. It's a moment called the crossover. In year 9, your annual contribution is still $1,200, but for the first time, the compound growth on your existing balance earns you more than $1,200 in interest over those 12 months. Your money is officially doing more physical work than your active deposits. You don't get an alert on your phone. Wall Street doesn't throw you a party, but your financial trajectory has permanently shifted. From that month forward, you are no longer pushing the car. You're sitting in the passenger seat while the engine does the heavy lifting. By year 20, that same $100 a month turns into nearly $59,000. You only contributed $24,000. The market handed you the rest. By year 30, it's $149,000. If you run those same 40 years at the S&P 500's actual historical average of around 10%, that $100 bill compounding quietly in the background grows to over $632,000. Even when you adjust for cumulative inflation, which has risen by roughly 26% since 2019, you are still looking at substantial, life-changing purchasing power from a habit that is smaller than most utility bills. Here at Springfield Wealth, we analyze these numbers constantly because the gap between who we are and who we could be is often just a single habit. My name is Max, and the most frustrating thing about studying wealth is realizing how many people are convinced they need a massive salary to build a secure future. They don't. The real differentiator today is not how much you make, it's how quickly you get out of your own way. Look at the environment around us. We are currently living through a massive credit card crisis. Total U.S. credit card debt has surpassed a record-shattering $1.25 trillion, with interest rates averaging above 21.5%. According to recent data, only 47% of Americans can cover a basic $1,000 emergency with their savings. When you look at retirement accounts, the situation is just as stark. The median 401k balance for Americans between the ages of 25 and 34 is only around $16,255. If you invest just $100 a month at 8% return, you will surpass that median balance in less than 10 years. A habit that requires zero daily effort beats half of your peers. So how do you actually execute this without getting overwhelmed by the noise? The steps are simple, incredibly boring, and take less than 20 minutes to set up. First, if your employer offers a 401k match, take it immediately. That's an instant 50 or 100% return on your money before the market even moves. Second, if you don't have a match, open a Roth IRA with an established, low-fee brokerage. Third, automate the process. Set up a recurring transfer of $100 the day after you get paid, before your brain has a chance to rationalize spending it. Finally, choose a single, low-cost S&P 500 index fund and leave it alone. There's only one major rule to remember. If you're carrying credit card debt at 21% or higher interest, pay that off first. No market index fund on earth can consistently beat a 21% guaranteed loss. But once that debt is clear, your primary job is to become a completely hands-off investor. The most successful portfolios belong to the people who forget their login credentials and let the market ride through the inevitable market cycles without trying to time the peaks and valleys. $100 a month is not a complex financial calculation. It's an identity vote. Every month that automatic transfer triggers, you are voting on the kind of future you want to build. You are deciding whether to remain a worker who trades hours for dollars forever, or an owner who lets the global economy build wealth for you while you sleep. The door to becoming an owner is completely unlocked, and it only costs $100 to walk through. You can start today, or you can wait until next year. But the version of you 30 years from now is relying entirely on the choice you make today.